This is the Clinitest test, and this is one of everybody's favorite because it bubbles and fizzes and makes pretty colors. It is going to measure for reducing substances, which means any kind of sugar, not just glucose. While if the certification exam for MAs, not for MLTs, for MAs, asks if what the backup test for glucose is, the answer is Clinitest. That's not usually what it's used for. Most commonly it's used on babies and other populations that use sugars other than glucose, because this will pick up galactose, which is the breakdown sugar from milk products. When we do this, we want to make sure we do it in glass tubes, because it is an exothermic reaction, which means it puts off heat, and it puts off a lot of heat. It will melt plastic tubes, which if you have a really boring day in the lab can sometimes create a lot of giggles. Unfortunately, that's not usually when it happens. It's usually when you're very, very busy and you forget. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a positive and a negative. There are two methods, the 5-drop method and the 2-drop method. We start with the 5-drop method, and if the sugar is so high that it passes through, basically it'll start at the blue, go all the way through the orange, and then go back to the blue. So you need to make sure you watch this reaction as it occurs so that you don't miss that pass-through if it does happen. If you get a pass-through, you go and do the 2-drop. The only difference is how many drops of urine you use. So what we're going to do for the 5-drop method is put 5 drops of urine and then whether we're doing the 2-drop or the 5-drop, we're going to add 10 drops of distilled water. The Clinitest tablets are very caustic. You want to make sure not to dump them into your hand. Several of the instructors here know people who have a perfectly round burn scar right in the middle of their hand because they were not cautious and dumped a Clinitest tablet into a wet palm. So again, we can either dump it into the lid or we can pick it up with a pair of forceps. You have to make sure you use a 16 by 100 or bigger tube, because if you use the 13 by 100 or 12 by 75, the tablet won't fit into the tube. And if you notice, as soon as you add it, it starts to bubble and fizz, and it will change colors. We like to do this at youth health fairs because it's just kind of cool looking. The major thing that you want to make sure when you get done is that if you have performed the 5-drop method, you use the chart for the 5-drop method. If you have done the 2-drop method, you use the chart for the 2-drop method. But just like with most of our urine testing, all we do is take it and compare and find the color that is closest.